Welcome to Zoe Stories. My best friend lost his girlfriend, so he made me take her place. Ryan Matthews lives a life defined by routine and predictability. Every day feels like a copy of the last. Wake up, attend business classes he's not passionate about, work a quiet shift at the local bookstore, then retreat to his small apartment to game or scroll through social media. His best friend Jake is his social lifeline, the one who drags him to parties, introduces him to new people, and pulls him out of his shell. But even in their friendship, Ryan feels overshadowed by Jake's outgoing, confident personality. Ryan's biggest struggle is his invisibility. He blends in, never standing out or taking risks. His parents have mapped out his future: graduate, get a stable job, settle down, but Ryan feels disconnected from it all. He's never questioned the path he's on, but a nagging sense of dissatisfaction lingers. He desires something more, a chance to feel confident, to break free from the monotony, to discover a version of himself he doesn't even know exists. It all starts at a weekend party. Jake's been sulking ever since his girlfriend Emily dumped him a week ago, and Ryan's been trying to cheer him up. They're surrounded by mutual friends, the drinks are flowing, and the atmosphere is light, until Jake, clearly still bitter, blurts out a challenge. "You know what'd be hilarious?" Jake slurs, glancing at Ryan with a mischievous grin. "If you showed up at the next party dressed as Emily. I bet you could pull it off. You're practically the same size." The group laughs, expecting Ryan to brush it off. But something about Jake's tone, mixed with the alcohol and Ryan's own simmering boredom with his life, makes him pause. The idea is ridiculous but also strangely intriguing. Before he can overthink it, Ryan hears himself say, "All right, I'll do it." The room erupts in cheers and laughter, but as the excitement fades, Ryan feels the weight of what he's agreed to. This isn't just a joke anymore, it's happening. The morning after the dare, Ryan wakes up with a pounding headache and a pit in his stomach. The fog of alcohol clears just enough for him to remember the ridiculous thing he agreed to. Dress like Emily. Go to the party. The thought alone sends a jolt of panic through him. His first instinct is to text Jake and back out. But then he remembers the look on Jake's face, the rare, genuine smile that had flickered there for the first time since the breakup. Jake needs this laugh, Ryan tells himself. It's just a joke. One night. But beneath the anxiety, there's a flicker of something else. Curiosity. What if he actually goes through with it? What would it feel like to step into someone else's shoes, even for a night? The fear and excitement twist together in his stomach, leaving him feeling more alive than he has in months. Later that afternoon, Ryan finds himself standing in front of Emily's old closet. Jake had texted him the address with a laughing emoji, and before Ryan could overthink it, he was already there, the key Jake gave him heavy in his pocket. The closet smells faintly of floral perfume and something sweet, vanilla, maybe. His fingers brush over delicate fabrics, soft lace, and silky textures so different from his usual jeans and t-shirts. His heart pounds as he pulls out a sleek, black bodycon dress that Emily wore to one of their parties. It's simple but elegant, with thin spaghetti straps and a low back that sends a shiver down his spine. In the mirror, Ryan stares at his reflection, holding the dress against his body. This is insane, he thinks. But before he can talk himself out of it, he strips off his clothes and carefully slides the dress over his head. The fabric clings to his body, hugging his frame in ways that feel foreign but oddly right. Next, he finds a pair of nude heels, only a couple of sizes too big, and steps into them, wobbling as he tries to balance. His legs look longer, slimmer, and his usually broad shoulders seem softer in the dress's tight fit. His heart races, but it's not entirely from nerves. Is this what confidence feels like? He wonders, staring at the unfamiliar, yet strangely captivating version of himself in the mirror. Just as Ryan is adjusting the straps of the dress, the door swings open. He freezes, expecting Jake, or worse, Emily. But instead, it's Lena, Jake's younger cousin, standing in the doorway with wide eyes. "Whoa," Lena says, blinking in surprise. She's a junior at the same university, with sharp hazel eyes and a smirk that always makes Ryan feel like she knows something he doesn't. "Didn't expect to see this today." Ryan's face flushes deep red. It's not what it looks like. But even as the words leave his mouth, he realizes how ridiculous that sounds. It's exactly what it looks like. To his surprise, Lena just laughs. Relax, Ryan. I'm not judging. She steps inside, tilting her head as she studies him. Actually, you're kind of pulling it off. Her words send a rush of unexpected warmth through him. Pulling it off. No one's ever complimented him like that before. Lena picks up a tube of lipstick from the dresser and tosses it to him. If you're gonna do this, you need to commit.
Sit.
I'll help. Ryan hesitates, but something in Lena's confident, nonchalant attitude makes him sit down. As she applies makeup, foundation, eyeliner, a bold red lip, Ryan feels his nerves melting into something new.
Excitement.
Anticipation. Maybe even confidence. When Ryan finally looks at himself in the mirror, he barely recognizes the person staring back. With Lena's help, he doesn't just look like a guy in a dress, he looks convincingly feminine. His heart pounds at the thought of stepping outside like this, but Lena gives him an encouraging nod.
You've got this, she says.
Trust me, no one will even know. But when they arrive at the party that night, Ryan realizes just how high the stakes are. The house is packed, the music blaring, and people are already drunk enough to not pay close attention. But as Ryan steps inside, he feels every pair of eyes on him, even if it's just in his head. The real challenge comes when Jake spots him from across the room. For a split second, Ryan thinks Jake doesn't recognize him. But then Jake bursts into laughter, clapping Ryan on the back. Dude, you actually did it. You look, wow. Jake pauses, his eyes flickering with something Ryan can't quite place. Surprise? Amusement? Something else? But before Ryan can process it, Emily walks in. She freezes, staring at Ryan with wide eyes. The room seems to quiet around them. Is that my dress? She asks, her voice sharp and disbelieving. Ryan's heart sinks. This isn't just a game anymore. How he handles this moment could change everything, his friendships, his reputation, maybe even his understanding of himself. At first, Ryan's heart is racing so fast he can barely hear the music over the pounding in his chest. As he steps into the party, the lights are dim, the crowd thick, and the bass thumps loud enough to blur out conversations. For a fleeting moment, he feels invisible. No one seems to notice that the quiet, awkward Ryan is now standing in front of them as a completely transformed version of himself. But then, Jake's laughter cuts through the noise. Yo, everyone! Look who actually went through with it. Jake shouts, pulling Ryan into the center of attention. The crowd turns, eyes widening as they take in Ryan's transformation. There's a beat of silence before the room erupts into a mix of cheers, laughter, and whistles. To Ryan's surprise, it's not as humiliating as he expected.
People seem impressed.
Some even compliment his look, jokingly asking for makeup tips or teasing him about how he pulls off the dress better than Emily ever did. The attention is overwhelming, but also thrilling. For once, he's not the background character in someone else's story. He's front and center. But just as Ryan starts to relax, Emily steps into the room. Emily's gaze locks onto Ryan, her face a mixture of shock and something else, maybe irritation, maybe amusement. She pushes through the crowd, her eyes narrowing. Ryan, she says, her voice dripping with disbelief. What the hell are you doing in my dress? The room quiets again. Ryan's pulse skyrockets. He fumbles for words, but Lena jumps in, saving him. Relax, Em. It's just a joke. Lighten up, Lena says smoothly, slipping her arm around Ryan's waist like they're in on the world's greatest prank. Emily doesn't look convinced. Yeah? Doesn't look like he's laughing. She glares at Ryan for a moment longer, then scoffs and storms off. Ryan exhales, but the tension lingers. Emily knows. And knowing her, she won't let this slide easily. As the night progresses, Ryan tries to shake off the confrontation with Emily. He even starts to enjoy himself, dancing awkwardly at first, but gradually loosening up as the drinks flow. The weight of fear begins to lift, replaced by a buzz of freedom he's never felt before. But then, things take an unexpected turn. While Ryan is grabbing a drink from the kitchen, Jake corners him, a strange look in his eyes. He's grinning, but there's an edge to it. "You're really getting into this, huh?" Jake says, his tone light, but his eyes searching. "Didn't think you'd commit this hard." Ryan laughs nervously. "Just trying to win the dare, man." But Jake steps closer, his expression unreadable. "Yeah, but you're kind of pulling it off too well. Almost like you're enjoying it." There's a teasing lilt to his voice, but Ryan can't tell if Jake's joking or if there's something more behind his words. Before Ryan can respond, Lena appears, slipping between them with a playful grin.
"Chill, Jake.
Let him have some fun." She grabs Ryan's hand and pulls him back into the crowd, but Ryan can feel Jake's eyes following him. Later in the evening, as Ryan and Lena are laughing over a shared drink, Jake catches them again, this time with a darker edge in his expression. "Careful, Lena," Jake says, his voice low. "Wouldn't want you falling for my best friend while he's playing dress up." The words sting more than Ryan expects. Is Jake just teasing, or is there jealousy in his tone? And if so, is it because of Lena or because of Ryan? Just when Ryan thinks the night can't get more complicated, his phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. "Nice dress, Ryan. Wonder what your parents would think if they saw you now." Winking face. Ryan's stomach drops. He scans the room, suddenly hyper-aware of every face, every glance. Someone knows, and they're threatening to expose him beyond this party. The dare was supposed to be harmless fun, but now Ryan realizes he's in deeper than he thought. Does he confront the sender? Keep pretending everything's fine? Or is it time to admit that this is more than just a dare, that maybe he's discovering something about himself he's not ready to hide anymore? The night isn't over, and Ryan's about to find out that the real challenge has only just begun. As the night unfolds, Ryan finds himself relaxing into the role more than he ever expected. What started as a joke, a dare to be laughed at, is turning into something strangely empowering. The way people look at him now, not with indifference but with curiosity and admiration, is intoxicating. He feels seen in a way he never has before. And it's not just the attention. It's the freedom. The soft fabric of the dress against his skin, the light click of heels on the hardwood floor, the way the makeup highlights features he's never thought of as attractive. All of it feels right in a way he can't quite explain. For the first time in his life, Ryan feels confident. The shy, awkward boy who always faded into the background is gone. In his place stands someone bold, someone who's not afraid to laugh loud, to dance without caring who's watching. And then there's Lena. As the party winds down, Lena pulls Ryan aside, her eyes glittering with mischief and something softer, deeper. "You know," she says, twirling a strand of her hair, "I didn't think you'd actually pull this off. But you're kind of amazing like this." Ryan laughs, feeling a blush creep up his cheeks, though it's hidden under the foundation and blush Lena applied earlier. "You mean ridiculous?" "No," Lena says, stepping closer. "I mean it." Dirt glowing. "I've never seen you like this." Her words hit Ryan harder than he expects. Because it's true. He feels alive. And when Lena's hand brushes against his arm, sending a shiver down his spine, he realizes something else. He's attracted to her, but it's different now. There's a new layer to it, a tension that's both exciting and terrifying. Before he can process it, Lena leans in, whispering in his ear. "You should keep this side of you around. I like it." Ryan's heart pounds, not from fear, but from the realization that maybe he likes it too. But just as Ryan starts to embrace this new side of himself, things take a darker turn. The text from earlier still lingers in his mind. As he and Lena head toward the door, ready to leave the party behind, Jake blocks their path, his arms crossed and a smug grin plastered on his face. "Leaving so soon?" Jake asks, his tone light, but his eyes sharp. "Thought you'd want to stick around, Ryan. Or should I say, Riley?" Ryan freezes. Riley, the name Lena jokingly called him earlier in the night. But the way Jake says it feels loaded, like he's testing something, pushing a boundary. "What's your deal, Jake?" Lena snaps, stepping protectively in front of Ryan. Jake shrugs, but his grin doesn't fade. Just wondering when our boy here was going to tell everyone how much he's loving this little game. His eyes narrow. Or maybe it's not a game anymore, huh? Ryan's pulse quickens. Jake knows. Or at least he suspects. And Ryan realizes that this isn't just about the dare anymore. He's standing at a crossroads. Does he admit to himself and to everyone else that there's more to this than a one-night joke? That maybe, just maybe, he's discovering a part of himself he doesn't want to hide? Or does he back down, laugh it off, and pretend none of this meant anything? Ryan glances at Lena, her hand still on his arm, her expression soft but expectant. And then he looks back at Jake, whose smirk dares him to deny it. Ryan's heart pounds in his chest as Jake's smug grin widens. The party noise fades into the background, leaving only the thudding of his pulse and the weight of everyone's eyes slowly turning toward him. The carefree confidence he felt earlier starts to unravel, replaced by a suffocating wave of doubt. What am I doing? He thinks, his mind spiraling. This wasn't supposed to be more than a dare. But now, standing here in a dress that feels more like armor than a costume, Ryan realizes he's teetering on the edge of something much bigger than a prank. Jake steps closer, his voice low but venomous. You really think you can fool everyone, Ryan? What are you, man? Or, he lets the sentence hang, the unspoken words heavier than any punch. Ryan's breath catches. His eyes dart to Lena, who's watching him carefully, her playful smile now replaced with genuine concern. He can see the question in her eyes, the same one screaming inside his own head. Is this really who I am? The walls feel like they're closing in. If he admits the truth, he risks losing everything, his friends, his identity, maybe even Lena. But if he hides it, he'll be burying a part of himself he just started to understand. Before Ryan can respond, another voice cuts through the tension, a voice he never expected. Leave him alone, Jake. Everyone turns to see Emma, Ryan's ex-girlfriend, stepping forward from the crowd. Her expression is unreadable, but her eyes are locked on Ryan, not with judgment, but with something else, recognition. You think you're so clever, Emma continues, her gaze flicking to Jake. But you don't know half the story. Ryan's breath hitches.
What is she talking about?
Emma takes a deep breath, then turns fully to Ryan. Remember that night, Ryan? When we broke up? Her voice softens. It wasn't just about us.
It was about you.
I found those clothes in your room. I knew. I didn't know how to handle it. The room goes silent. Ryan's face burns, his mind racing. He never thought anyone knew, not even Emma. But the look in her eyes tells him everything she's known for a long time. And instead of using it against him, she's protecting him. He's not doing this for anyone else, Emma says firmly, turning back to the crowd. He's doing it for himself. Jake looks stunned, his mouth opening and closing like he's trying to find a comeback but can't. The power dynamic shifts instantly, and Ryan feels a surge of something unexpected, relief. But it also leaves him with a bigger question. If Emma knew all along, what does that mean about him? The party starts to disperse, whispers and glances fading into the background as people move on to other distractions. But Ryan stands there, rooted in place, his mind swirling. Emma gives him a small nod before walking away, leaving him alone with Lena. Lena steps closer, her voice soft but steady. You don't have to explain anything to me, Ryan. But that's the thing, he wants to. He wants to understand it himself. I don't know who I am anymore, he admits, his voice barely a whisper. I thought this was just a joke, but it feels like more. And I'm scared of what that means. Lena smiles gently, her hand finding his. Maybe it doesn't have to mean anything right now. Maybe you just be you. Whatever that looks like. Ryan looks down at their intertwined fingers, then at his reflection in the window. The person staring back at him isn't the awkward, invisible guy he's always known. It's someone braver, someone happier. But the question remains, is this who he wants to be, even when the party's over? As they step out into the cool night air, Ryan realizes the decision doesn't have to be made tonight. But for the first time, he's open to finding out. The following weeks feel like stepping into a new world for Ryan. The fear of being discovered slowly dissolves, replaced by a tentative confidence he never knew he had. What began as a dare turned into something transformative, not just in how he dressed, but in how he saw himself. Jake tried to stir the pot a few more times, but the power of Emma's unexpected defense and Lena's unwavering support turned the tide. Surprisingly, most people didn't care as much as Ryan feared. Some even found it cool how he owned it. For the first time in his life, Ryan wasn't just fading into the background. He was standing out, and it felt good. He didn't abandon his old self entirely, though. Some days, he wore his usual jeans and hoodies. Other days, he felt like slipping on a skirt or adding a little eyeliner. But the difference was, now he was doing it for himself, not because of a dare or to impress anyone. One evening, sitting on the edge of his bed, Ryan looked into the mirror. He saw both versions of himself there, the quiet, overlooked guy he'd always been and the confident person he was becoming. And for the first time, he realized he didn't have to choose between them. He learned that identity isn't a straight line. It's messy and complicated, filled with unexpected twists. But that's what made it beautiful. The biggest lesson? Acceptance doesn't start with others. It starts within. Ryan and Lena grew closer, their friendship deepening in ways neither of them expected. Whether it blossomed into romance or stayed as a powerful bond, Ryan felt lucky to have her by his side. Even Emma became part of his life again, not as his girlfriend, but as someone who understood a piece of him he didn't even fully grasp. Together, they laughed at how life threw curveballs none of them saw coming. As Ryan closed his notebook after journaling his thoughts, his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Hey, I saw you at the party a few weeks ago.
I think we need to talk.
I know something about you." Ryan stared at the screen, his heart racing. Was this a threat? A secret admirer? Or something else entirely? Smiling to himself, he realized it didn't matter. Whatever was coming, he was ready. Thank you for joining us on another captivating journey through Zoe's stories. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the magic of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.